I think one important place to start from is how Gen Nigeria was given birth to. Gen Nigeria was established as a collaborative effort between a few organizations that are both in the public and, of course, driven by the private sector. And we have very sound people on the advisory board who are offering their expertise on how we can really deepen the skill sets that we have to shape what is going to be happening in the ecosystem going forward. So my take is having all of you here is to learn more and ask questions about what's happening with Gen Nigeria and some of the things we'll be doing going forward. To take the mic from me now is an entrepreneur who is also very active with Gen Nigeria, but more on the North Central side. So Dr. Larry Phillips. Larry is probably, if not the best selfie picture taker. All right.
Hi everyone. Okay, so my name is Larry, and basically this session is about learning about parts of Nigeria and also learning about what Gen Nigeria has been able to achieve in the past few years. Okay, we don't have our invited guests yet. Okay, so we're going to make this as interactive as possible. I'm going to invite right away the representative from LSETF to come share with us what has happened in the past couple of months.
Good afternoon, everyone. Can you hear me? Hello. Can you hear me? Okay, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jadisola Rawa. I'm not very good with public speaking, but I will try. Thank you for coming today. Like he said, like Larry said, I'm here to talk about the LSETF, that's the Lagos State Employment Trust Fund, and what we do. I know quite a number of us in this room do know about the LSETF, and the people that didn't know also had the opportunity to hear my executive secretary speak yesterday at the dinner. But just in a nutshell, LSETF was established by law by the Lagos State government in 2016. And we went into kind of like full operation in 2017. And what we do at the LSETF is very simple, really. We're trying to make a difference in Lagos State. Unfortunately, some of our beneficiaries could not be here today, but I stand here to represent them and share a few of their stories. The first aspect of what we do at the LSETF is to give out loans to small businesses. So that's what we started off with. But there are a lot of other aspects to what we do, but I'll just talk a little bit about the loan program. The loan program is a program that gives loans, like I said, between 250,000 naira and 5 million naira to small businesses in Lagos. Now, those businesses are divided into different categories. So we have the ME startups, that's the micro enterprise startups. They get up to 250,000 naira. The only thing you have to really show us basically is a certificate of training that shows that, okay, you know what, I've gone for a vocational training, I have the certificate, I can run this business if I'm given a helping hand. So we give them as much as 250,000 naira at 5% to pay back. Then we also have the micro enterprises. They get as much as 500,000 naira. So now, for instance, this is my favorite way to express it. It's like Mama Sikira down the road who fries akara. Mama Sikira has sent 4 children to school from frying akara. Mama Sikira is not learned. She's not educated. She probably doesn't have a bank account, but she's running a business, and that business is viable. She can, feed, train her family from that business. So we would give her as much as 500,000 naira to help her get that business to the next level. Then we also have now the bigger boys, in quotes, the people that get up to 5 million naira. These are the big businesses, small and medium scale businesses, but we call them in our books, they're the big boys, right? So they get up to 5 million naira. And what you have to show basically is to show that, okay, you know what, your business is run in Lagos State and you pay your taxes to Lagos State. Don't forget, our sole source of funding right now is the Lagos State government and taxpayers' money. That's what we use to do what we do. Now, we don't discriminate. We say, okay, you know what, it's okay if you've not been paying taxes, but when you get the loan, you need to start paying your taxes, because we're hoping that this can be sustainable. And then, as you're paying, more money comes in and more people can take advantage of the money. So in a nutshell, that's our loan program. Is that people that are eligible for this are the people that live in Lagos and run their businesses in Lagos. But it does not matter what part of the country you come from, as long as you can show that I live in Lagos and I run my businesses. We have great stories. I'll share one of the stories from the loan program with you. So there was a young boy, he's still in Lagos State University, so he's still a student. And he ran into my boss when he was speaking, kind of like a gathering like this. And my boss said, look, you can even go online on your phone right now and apply. So right there at that meeting, the boy went online and applied. This boy runs a dry cleaning business, right? So he had about 2 people. So he's a doctor. He's in school studying to be a dental doctor. So right there, he washes for all the other doctors. He wash their lab coats and things like that. So he applied for the money. He got the 250,000 naira. And guess what? Within 6 months, he called us and said, I want to pay the loan back. Can I get more? And he has employed about 20 people who now wash for him. So that's a good story. That's the kind of story that we want to tell with the LSTTF, because now this boy is now empowering about 20 other families who wash for him, iron for him, run around. And then not only that, from that loan that he got, because it was the money that he needed at that time, he was also able to establish a smoothie company for his sister. So this is a story of a small amount making a huge difference, and we did a video with him and he said to us, and it's something that still touches me today. He said, look, now 20 people can feed their families, they can send their children to school because I got an opportunity from someone. And that's exactly what our story is in a nutshell. So like I said, that's a huge part of what we do. But one of the other things that we now do also is we have the Lagos Innovates program. Fumbi is here. I'm sure Fumbi is going to be talking later. He's one of our success stories, So that's a new program. It's just about 3-4 months old. But what we're trying to do with that is change the ecosystem in Lagos when it comes to technology. So what we do is we give out, so on one hand, we give out workspace vouchers to people that are in the technology space. So for instance, you have an idea, but you need help getting your idea to the next level. So we will subsidize a workspace voucher for you to be able to so for 3 months, for 6 months, basically paying for you to be able to go somewhere, work, you have internet access, you have everything provided for you, that you need to get your idea from point A to point B. Then we also do that as well for the people that, okay, your idea is already making money, but you still need support. So we'll pay for the space for you for up to about a year, for you to be able to continue to work in, so that hopefully, when the idea is developed, you're able to employ more people. Don't forget, at the crux of what we do, everything that we're trying to do is job creation. The more people we can get off of the streets, then the better a place Lagos becomes, and then everybody else can enjoy it. So that's also on one hand. And then the third thing that we also do at the Lagos State Employment Trust Fund as well is, so part of my job basically is promotions, right? So what we try to do is not only do we give the loans to people, we also then find new markets for them. So that's one of the reasons why I'm here. We're hoping that, we can form partnerships and engage with people that now will off-take from the people that, we're supporting. We also do trainings. We also do just different things. Everything basically hand-holding you to make sure that your business succeeds. That's at the crux of what we do at the LSTF. And of course, we're still looking for funding partners as well. So if anybody in this room can write a check for 100 million naira, I'm happy to take it. But yes, the last thing is we have our employability program. Now, our employability program, that's what we're doing in partnership with the United Nations UNDP development program. And what we've done with this is they've committed a sum of money to us that we've also matched. Now, we're training people between the ages of 18 and 35, young people. We're trying to upskill them so that they can be able to compete for the jobs that are available. So what we did with this was basically we went kind of backwards and started from the back. We spoke to the big companies and the small companies and said, look, what are the skills that you guys need? Because people say, oh, there's no jobs. But when you talk to the people in the big companies, they say, oh, there are jobs, but people are just not skilled to take on the jobs. So we spoke to them and said, okay, what are the skills that you require? And then they said to us, oh, we want X, Y, Z. So we're working in 6 different areas. We're working in construction. We're working in healthcare, hospitality, entertainment, garment making. And what we're doing with these people now is, after talking to the companies sit with us and they develop a curriculum that we then use to train the people that apply for this for these opportunities. When we train them, the companies then take them from us. So we have a training period of about 4 to 6 weeks. they get trained in everything that they need to know in that aspect. Then the companies will say, okay, now that they're trained, we can employ them. So that's what we're doing. That's also a new program. We've just trained our first batch of people. I think we graduated about 500 people recently. And out of that, we have about 20% offtake already from companies that have committed to taking them. So that's what we're doing. The target for this is to be able to train at least 10,000 people, young people, in the period, and we're working very hard. We're committed to making sure that happens. So so with everybody's support and encouragement, we hope that we can continue to do what we're doing at the Lagos State Employment Trust Fund. I came from the private sector. Like 99% of us that work there came from the private sector. This is the first time that in my life that I'm looking at the government and saying, you know what, you guys do have, sorry to all the other government officials, you have sense small, I'm very excited, to be a part of this, because not only do I get an opportunity to do a job that I love to do, that I get paid to do, but it's also something that I love to do. And I'm very excited to invite you all to the Nigeria Night. I'm sure Wale is going to talk about it some more, but please come tomorrow. I have fantastic things that I brought from some of the people that have our loans. We have jewelry, African fashion, homeware stuff. So please come tomorrow, take a look, buy if you want to, and thank you very much for having me. Hope I didn't take so much of your time. Thank you.
Jadi, thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, you're still at the Learning Hub of Gen Nigeria. We have a few friends in the house now. Just to give a brief about Nigeria. Nigeria is a country of about 200 million people. The beauty of the country, once again, is over 70% of the population is actually less than 25 in age. So that tells you the kind of opportunities that accrue to Nigeria. Nigeria is also arguably the largest economy in Africa, and that also tells you why it's important that you find out some of the things we have to tell you. Ladies and gentlemen, information is the new crude, and even the way the earth is formed supports this. We're told in our elementary geography that the earth rotates and revolves. It took me a long time up until adult age to understand the meaning of rotation and revolution. Okay, and for me, rotation means staying on the same axis and going round, isn't it? Okay, and then revolution has to do with even leaving all of that axis. What it means is if you stay on a spot for a microsecond, you're already left behind. And that's why I want to crave your indulgence today to take all of the information that is getting to you very, very seriously. Next, I'm going to invite Nike from Faith Foundation to come share with us what they do and how they've had impact on the ecosystem.
Thank you. Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Adenike Adeyemi from Faith Foundation. It's actually interesting speaking right off after the LSCTF. And I think one of the great things about the Gen Network and the strength is how the ecosystem can end to support each other. So 45 of our entrepreneurs got LSCTF funding last year, and 2 of them are now training. So 2 of them have trained 100 people each in the areas of, so they're both in the fashion design space, and each of them, House of Henry and Wakpa Apparels, are both trained 100 people each in their employability program. So Faith Foundation is a non-profit. We've been around for 18 years. Is that better? Okay, thank you. We've been around for 18 years. I don't want it to be. Is that better? Okay, I'll increase my voice. So we've been around for 18 years. We're set up by Mr. Fola Adiola, co-founder of GT Bank. And one of the things about being an 18-year-old non-profit in the entrepreneurship space is that you also don't want to become that dinosaur that doesn't learn and also doesn't grow. One of the things that also happens is that in that 18 years of space, you have people who came into Faith as young entrepreneurs, but who have over the years grown, established businesses, and their needs also differ from what a typical young and new startup will be. So what we've done over the last 2 to 3 years is also to refocus a lot of our support in ensuring that as much as we provide the growth support and the learning support for people who just come to Faith, we're also able to expand that support to people who've been with us for 17 to 18 years. And I'll share a few of our learnings and a few of the things that we've been doing in the last 3 years. So the first one is intentionality with our impact. And one of the things that we decided to do 2.5 years ago was that we would be much more outcome focused and much more impact focused than much more outcome. So people come to Faith, and our intention is to help them to start to grow and to scale their businesses. And that means that in terms of talking about our impact, it has to be clear about how we're helping them to start to grow and scale their impact. And I'll just use a few examples from the start point. From the start point, two of our impact measures is to get young people beyond the point of just the idea. So for usually when we have startups, they come in two branches. Those that just have the idea and they've not yet started, and then those that have the proof of concept and are just starting out. So for those that have the idea, for that's usually in a lot of our large classes or more of our mass programs, so to speak. What we've done is we've started a Next Economy program, which we've been running for about 2 years now, and to take them through a 6-month proof of concept development and ideation stage using design thinking. What that means is that normally we'll have about maybe 120 people come through a program that has about 4 streams of classes at the same time. But at the end of the 6 months, we're able to go through a model that helps to find out the people with ideas that get to the point of testing the ideas to proof of concept, and really, really very practical. From taking them to Ijora in our environment, to taking them to really understand their customers, going to test these ideas in the customers, coming back and ideating and saying, okay, whatever my business is, what is it solving, what's the solution, and getting them to the point of being clear about their customers, their value proposition, and who their exact market is. But then also taking them beyond further, because one of the conversations that we have with some of our partners is also the importance of getting them into the formal economy. Because we looked at a few of the young entrepreneurs in the last 2 years who do businesses, but they've not registered the businesses, they've not had bank accounts. So recently we got into a partnership with DIY Law to ensure that everybody that comes and gets to the point of beyond proof of concept gets to register their business, and we provide that actual support in helping them register their business and create bank accounts. And then the other thing also for us from a proof of concept is your ability to be able to make your first sale. So at the end of the 6 months, not only will you come with a refined business idea, a registered business, but you also working with you also to ensure that you make your first sale and then continuous sales. And for us, that's a marker of impact for anybody that just comes from idea, because we don't just want you to come, sit through with us 3 to 4 months and not having a business or sales that you've made. So that's one. Number 2 for us is also partnerships for growth. So while we do a lot of training programs, for us is also to be able to identify partners like LSCTF who can provide all the other support elements that we can do. So traditionally, what we'll always do is we'll have a list and we'll just share out. So if you want access to market support, funding support, go and meet this person. But what we've done in the last 18 months in particular is to take this step a bit further, to say, okay, rather than just saying, okay, we're linking you with, so for instance, for funding, there are different funding opportunities an entrepreneur would have. So from that, the person in the ideation stage who just needs some help, some grant support to take that idea, to refine their business model and test it, to the person who is using to start, to the person who wants to grow, to the person to scale. And what we did was we looked for partners along that frame. And I'll give an example of Dami. So Dami runs a tiger nut business. Everybody knows Heir or Fuel, as it's called. And it's one of those new products that everybody is doing so many things with. And one of the things we told her was there was a need to differentiate herself in the market. So she came through the Next Economy program, and she was one of those that we worked on redefining the business model, helping her to register the business, now helping her to, so now one of the things we're doing with growth support is working directly with her, with NAFDAC, to be able to register the business so that within the next 3 months, she can get it on the shelves of some of the much more, the stores like Game and Spy in the market. And then we linked her with crowdfunding support that helped her to refine and test this model. And the other thing also was even working with her with Firo, so that she can create some fabricated instrument that helps her to first of all test it. Because by the time she came in, she wanted to create, when we looked at our business plan, one of the things that she wanted was to set up a larger manufacturing thing to process this tiger nut. And we said, no, you have to sit back, be sure of the products that you want to do and how you get it to that point, and understand the mechanization that takes it to that point. So we've been working with her and Firo to help her test the different prefab materials, to get her to make the milk, to get her to make the flour. And now she employs about 4 to 5 people full time, and about 3 other people that help her with the distribution on the value chain. Through the Next Economy program that we're doing, she got about 700,000 naira that helped her to be able to fund the purchase of this prefab equipment, and hopefully we'll link out to further funding after. So for us, growth support is important. It's not just learning, but really for us being able to measure that you registered the business, you got customers, and then you're continuing to improve in that space. And then the last thing I'll talk about is even learning, because as we're teaching our entrepreneurs to continue to learn and grow and really adapt and understand what's happening in their market and their customers, it's also for us to learn what's happening. And one of the areas that we found was of really strong issues was around financial literacy. So I know we always throw around the term financial literacy, but for us I think it came to a head when every time there are funding programs are the number one programs that people would apply for and enlist for. And we now said, okay, why do you think you need this funding? You say you need this funding. How do you know you need this funding? And we now started that back and forth of trying to better understand just even the constraints around just understanding where you are as a bit. And so last year, we got into a partnership with ACCA, Association of Certified Chartered Accountants. And what we've been doing around growth support is better hand-holding our entrepreneurs for that financial literacy. Because if you look at it, when businesses die a lot, whether in Nigeria or elsewhere, it's really around things around cash flow. It's not being able to predict your needs, your requirements, your cash flow to be able to hold and run the businesses. And one of the things that we're doing for our growth stage entrepreneurs is that better understanding of your cash flow, your cash situations, even when they need loan now, because we are taking an active step in the loan process, not just referring them. So all the 45 people that we helped for the LSCTF is to sit with them in their financials. Do you need this loan? If you need this loan, what are you looking about? This is the implication of the plan. This is the implication on the cash flow. This is the volume of revenue that you need to be able to pay this cash back over a time, so that they better understand the implications of that. And the next point on that is also even around taxes, and even understanding the tax, some of things around their tax issues, tax requirements, and making them owners of their tax burdens from when they start, but even also more importantly for the later stage ones, because you find out that quite a lot of people get tax burdens. They're in the business 4 to 5 years, and then they get into a situation where maybe they want to apply for LSCTF or something, and they require tax information, and they find out that they are in very huge tax burdens. So how do you preempt them from getting to that stage, or even when they're in that stage, how do you better get them to understand, even with an accountant, a tax consultant, they also have to know that knowledge for themselves. So for quite a lot of the work we're really doing is to learn ways that we can continue to provide support, and to provide support to grow and to scale, because we don't want to create entrepreneurs that are just their own CEOs and they're not employing anybody, or they only employ 1 or 2 other persons. Those are not the businesses that will grow the economy. So that's so a lot of the work that we're doing is really focused around that, and I'll be happy to share more later. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's amazing what ladies and gentlemen, it's amazing what a lot of people around the world have to say about Nigeria. The encyclopedia describes one of Nigeria's tribes as the most extravagant tribe of West Africa, known for their flowing gowns and lavish parties. Okay, that's who we are. Inside of all of the fun, we're also very serious people. One of the great things about Gen Nigeria, ladies and gentlemen, is the fact that Gen Nigeria is in sync with the ecosystem. So, like you'd see, the last 2 people that have spoken, Jade and Nike, kept emphasizing issues around unemployment. Okay, Gen Nigeria has had very many strategic partners, who have been able to help us achieve what we've been able to achieve for now. I'm going to invite next the Bank of Industry representative to come share with us what they've been able to do in the past couple of months.
Thank you very much. Okay, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I think my natural voice also will do a good job. Okay, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's better now, am I? Okay, I work for the Bank of Industry. I will do a brief on the Bank of Industry, but I'm also going to speak my mind by virtue of my interaction at the Congress. So I will do it in 2 ways. I work for the Bank of Industry. The Bank of Industry is Nigeria's leading development financial institution. We are set up by the government to intervene in the area of industry development in the country. So what we do basically is to fund existing industries, to fund new ideas that want to industrialize the country also, and also to bring back to life moribund industries. Being a bank, it simply means that we are an intermediary organization. So what we do is that we seek for funding, and we also make that funding available to those that will need it for investment purposes. But we bring something new to the board on board. The cost of funding by Bank of Industry is subsidized. That simply means that we lend as a single-digit rate to would be customers of the Bank of Industry or customers of the Bank of Industry, knowing that the going commercial rate in the country is between 25 to 26%, which does not augur well for industry activities. We also being that we're also a development finance institution, we also try to intervene in the areas of employment creation, in the areas of capacity building, and all of that. As a bank, we take the youth population seriously. For that, in 2014, we had a 5-year strategic plan to assist us develop capacity within the youth strata of the country. So what we did was simple. We went in for 2 projects. One is the JEF project, which simply means Graduate Entrepreneurship Fund. It's a project that is targeted mainly to youth corpers. Youth corpers are those that have finished their university education. They are actually in a kind of internship project. We fund them. We fund them for capacity building. We also fund them for the actualization of their business. The other is YES project. YES project is youth entrepreneurship scheme. What it simply means also is that those that are no more in school or no more in that 1-year internship, government internship program, what happens is that they are left unattended to. So from the age of between 18 and 35, we take those kind of persons also. We train them for a period of 3 months. Then thereafter, we also fund their business ideas to fruition. These are interventions. So basically, what it simply means is that money is set aside for that purpose. I will say that if, as a bank, if you have a viable business idea, if you have a thriving business, we try to support you. But that is what we do as a bank, like every other bank. As a Nigerian, being here has also impacted me differently, because as you go into one session after the other and you hear of the success stories, it should make you think. If it doesn't, then it becomes a challenge. So for me, I think all of the discussion around entrepreneurial ecosystem in Nigeria has to change. The reason is because I've been in government for about 4 years now, and the discussion we have on table has always been cherry-picked discussions. We have people that are unemployed. Can we give them money so they can they can do something? We have some youths. Can we just organize a training program for them, then thereafter give them some advances so they can do something? I believe that it's not going to work. We are a country of 180 million plus. Of that number, we have over 50% as youth. And of that number, graciously, we have about 37 million registered enterprises as a country. What that means is that Nigeria is not lacking in the area of entrepreneurial knowledge. It means that ab initio, enterprise is in the very vein of Nigerians. But between the registered number and the successful number of enterprises is a whole world of difference. We have a success rate of about 1/10. That simply means that if 10 persons go into a business venture, they won. Within a 1-year period, about 6 persons will fail. Only 4 persons will thrive to the next 3 years. Within a 3-year period, only 1 will come out a success story. So if you look at all the stories that have been told here, you realize that it also juxtaposes, so it's not justified what I'm talking about. Out of the millions of people you fund, at the end of the day, you can only talk about 1 or 2 success story, that means there is a problem in the system that has to be addressed. And I think that's what Jen is bringing to fore, and that is the entrepreneurial ecosystem. We have to start talking about the ecosystem that encourages entrepreneurship, much more than the cherry picking of fund requirement. Study has also shown that entrepreneurs all over the world, the basic problem is not funding. As a country in Nigeria, we have over 500 billion naira waiting drawdown by entrepreneurs that have not been assessed. The major challenge we have is capacity. Capacity has been a major challenge, and the capacity that we've tried to address all this while has always been classroom lectures. You take in some people for a period of time, you teach them financial modeling, you teach them financial knowledge, you teach them how to draw up a business plan, all of that, and thereafter you said, okay, you've built capacity. No. If you look at our historic capacity building process, it has to come back to fore. And I'm saying this in front of some of us that are NGOs and what have you that come to the table to go with government, with policymakers, to see that there is need for change in the dialogue with government in the area of entrepreneurship development. The issue of knowing your business is the basic to, or the basis for entrepreneurship. That's the basis for entrepreneurship. When I got into banking early enough, about 20 years ago, I had a discussion with one of the major CEOs, Tony Elumelu. I think some of us know him. And he defined entrepreneurship in a term that differed my understanding from school. He talked about entrepreneurial spirit. And in his own definition of entrepreneurship, he was just talking about innovation, risk-taking. That means having a defined purpose and giving it all. That is risk-taking. He talked about the issue of resources and solicitation and application of resources and all of that. And that can be found almost anywhere. But we've made it as a country, whenever we talk about entrepreneurship, we equate it to funding. And I think that is totally what we should change. The issue of capacity building has to be technical in nature. That discussion has to start taking place. That instead of looking for unemployed young people and train them for basic business knowledge and empower them with monies that will never come back and that will fail. So if you look at Nigeria, the history of the country, all the intervention projects we've had as a country, from UWIN that is most recent, all that we've had, they have not been successful. So we have to go back to the drawing board. The ones we are doing now also, they are not still successful. So you have to go back to the drawing board. The issue of infrastructure has to be taken into cognizance. I was talking to a group of people from Lagos, Abuja's Chambers of Commerce, and I told them something. I said, the click of a button, I buy my goods from Amazon. So I will not come to, and if you look at every one of us sitting here, I don't think any one of us is wearing fully made in Nigerian clothing. So all of a sudden, the reality dawns on us that yes, you can say that it was made in Nigeria, but the fabric is not Nigeria. So the simple truth remains that we are no more looking at Nigeria as a country when we are talking about entrepreneurship. We have to start thinking global. And when you come to an environment like this, it gives you the sense of the global thought on entrepreneurship. And that should be what should tweak our discourse with policymakers as we go back. For everything we talk about, you have to think about, because entrepreneurship is all about investment and returns. That's basically what it is. And it all boils down to money. So if I tell you that, look, it costs me more money to transport a good from Abuja to Lagos than it costs me to bring in that same good from, say, from UK or from US, I'm telling you that Nigerian goods are not competitive. And if Nigerian goods are not competitive, take it or leave it. Nigerian goods are not going to sell. That is the simple truth. So what happens is that our discussion has to be holistic as we go back home. As we engage with government, our discussion has to be holistic. The basics of infrastructural development, power has to be what we talk about, not money. Because if you give an entrepreneur power in Nigeria, you would have solved about over 50% of his challenge without putting money into his pocket. If you're able to give an entrepreneur in Nigeria a good rail system, a good road system, or a transport system, you would have been able to solve additional 30% of his problem without putting money in his pocket. So what it simply means that we have to look at developing our story as Gen Nigeria now around the ecosystem that supports entrepreneurship, and not just the funding aspect of it. However, for some of us that have been, or for some businesses that have been able to scale the hurdle to maturity or to scaling, then it becomes necessary for you to approach a bank like Bank of Industry. Why I say so is this: we'll come to board with subsidized funding, and by the virtue of the fact that you are going to be borrowing at 9% or 5% or 10% instead of 24%, gives you an advantage when it comes to competitiveness. So that is the story that we'll go on with, that for those of us that are able to scale the hurdle of startups, then it can secure subsidized funding to enable you to compete favorably with your international counterpart. I want to say thank you for the opportunity, and I just pray that when we leave this place, I'm making a commitment to you people that when we leave this place, our talk should reflect what we are seeing here. It's very, very necessary we do that. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have heard from Ladies and gentlemen, we have heard from LSETF, we've heard from Faith Foundation, we've heard from BOI. Okay. One of the beauty of Gen Nigeria, once again, is it serves as a congruence between the enablers and the enabled. Ladies and gentlemen, bringing upstage next is one of the enabled. I'd call on Ramatu to come and share her experience as an entrepreneur in the northwest region of Nigeria.
Good morning, everybody. Actually, I'm sorry. I didn't expect I was going to be called. And I'm learning, and every day I learn, I'm still learning. I find it difficult to talk to people, but I'm a silent learner. I learn, but even in the class, I don't talk. But before I continue, I want to appreciate my MD. My name is Ramatu Ibrahim. I'm a serial entrepreneur, like I always said. I can't do one business. I do more than one business. So that's why I'm serial. And also an EDC alumni. I'll start like this. For 4 years, I was attending the Global Entrepreneurship Week in Nigeria outside my state. And sometimes, Betty encouraged me to start something in Kaduna, and I told her I can't, and she said I can. I told her I cannot. So we argued about it for some time before I agreed to start, and I started. And this is going to be the third year by this year, and it has been so amazing. And every day I do whatever I do. Over there, I think about her, I pray for her, and I tell her thank you all the time for the encouragement. Global Entrepreneurship Week, as I heard it in Kaduna, has really given me a lot of exposure. I found out that a lot of people out there don't even know there's something like that. And it has really improved me in the area of acquiring more knowledge, more skills, not just for me alone, and for people who I carry along over there from Northwest. And not just in Kaduna, people from other states, in Kano, Abuja, yes, Bauchi, and Jigawa also come to Kaduna during the Global Entrepreneurship Week. I want to say at this junction that when it comes to the issue of having connected, you get to engage yourself in whatever you are doing. You have to engage yourself in your area of discipline, your line of business, and carry along those people in your area. What I'm doing right now, for me to have come here, this is my second time of attending the Global Entrepreneurship Congress. What I normally do as an individual and also as an EDC alumni, whatever I learn, I go back home to also impact on my fellow women and youth. And that is the more reason wherever there's entrepreneurship program like this, I don't like missing it. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, where I come from in the southwestern part of Nigeria, they say the biggest masquerade usually appears last. Okay. I'm going to invite over the MD of Gen Nigeria, Dr. Olawale Anifowoshe, to come share with us how it's been steering the affairs of Gen for the past few years.
So, thank you very much. It hasn't been a few years. The journey has just been a year. And one of the things that is quite important to us is the fact that we're able to bring everybody. This is not a solo effort. This is the combined effort of all of the people that have come up here to speak. And that's why it was important to start with those people so that we could then bring all of the things that we've been able to do together in 1 year. It's interesting that Alisimo is here. In fact, as we launched Gen Nigeria, one of the things that we wanted to focus on was to be able to have an Africa-wide, at the first instance, an African-wide ecosystem collaboration. And we've worked actively. We've signed an MOU with Gen South Africa. I think you guys see me there like almost every month now. And we're very happy to be speaking with entrepreneurs in a different part of Africa and to see what they are doing. And we're working towards bringing some of those entrepreneurs into Nigeria to see the opportunities in the market and to take some of the entrepreneurs in Nigeria to see opportunities in South Africa. Recently, maybe we should give a round of applause to Gen South Africa. They won the Gen Country of the Year. And for some of the little baby steps that we've taken in Nigeria, we got nominated. And being nominated as the Country of the Year only does one thing for us, and that's to encourage us to continue the great work that we're doing and to continue to collaborate. I remember during the launch of 22 on Sloan, and Jonathan asked me, are you guys going to be thinking of doing the same thing? And I said, it's already here. Why do we need to start replicating? If it's here, we need to take advantage of this before we then start thinking of building one in Nigeria. In any case, you guys are already taking the lead to have this, so we need to utilize this very much. And the final clarion call is for everyone that is here. There are a few people from other countries here to also know that Nigeria is open. Gen Nigeria is open for opportunities to collaborate, and Nigeria is also open to receive entrepreneurs and opportunities in Nigeria. Thank you very much for coming to listen and to learn about Gen Nigeria. We could take a few questions before we wrap up. Yeah.
Thank you. I'm Amos from Benin. I'm so close for you. I need to know the first step for Gen Nigeria, and if you collaborate with your government, I need to understand your first step. Okay, how you do to build.
Okay. Yes. So yes, we have a strategic relationship with the Federal Ministry of Trade and Investment, and also with the Small and Medium Enterprise Development Agency of Nigeria. But you have to understand that the government's major role is to help steer policy and to create that enabling environment for entrepreneurs and for those that are supporting entrepreneurs to work. So yes, we have them, and of course you have someone from the Bank of Industry, which is also an agency of government, also on board, on the advisory board of Gen Nigeria. We have those two other entities that I mentioned also on the board of Nigeria. You need, in order for you to truly build the ecosystem in the way we want, you cannot do it without the government. We need their support. We need their buy-in and understanding of how entrepreneurs think and work in order for them to be able to create that enabling environment. So the first step really for us was to get their buy-in so that they would be working hand in hand in us as we shape that ecosystem in Nigeria. Yep. Other questions? Okay, if there are no other questions, I think this is a good opportunity for everyone to please network. There are a few people amongst us. The entrepreneurs can talk to other people here. And Alessimo is here. She's a great resource. She's the research director at Gen South Africa and very active at the 22 on Sloan. Question?
To make a comment, is it okay?
Yes, please.
I'm from Namibia, and I just want to congratulate you guys of what you have built this far. I think it's great what you are doing, and I admire you every year. Having 180 million people and bringing, I don't know, what number did you take to South Africa? About 40? That is something of a big achievement. And I lived in Ikeja for 3 months in Lagos, and I came to respect Nigerians highly. So I'm not one of those people who really think of a Nigerian as a scammer. I see you as innovative people who really make things happen for yourself. And I just wish you God's blessings all the way from Namibia.
Thank you very much. And okay, so and this is also an invitation to everyone that hasn't received the invitation for the Nigeria night tomorrow at 6 p.m. at the Summit Suite on the 34th floor of the Hilton. So we'll be there. We would be dancing and we would be listening. Yes, of course, there will be the jollof rice, and I can see my Ghanaian brother looking at me when you mentioned jollof rice, because there's been that rivalry between whose jollof rice is the real one, but the Ghanaian guys know the truth. We'll find out tomorrow. All right, thank you everyone, and enjoy the rest of the Congress.